Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree. Very interesting panel. I think it's important to recognize that there's nobody here on the panel this morning that thinks that the system that we have in place with the application and the requirements that we have in place is good and that it needs to be maintained. I think there is a recognition that we must do more to make sure that we do not put in place barriers. And I appreciate the recognition that there's a difference between a form that is annoying and just kind of a pain to fill out and something that is truly a barrier. And I hear far, far, far too often that it is a barrier, that you have young people that look at it and say, I can't even go there. They bring their parents into the picture, and they too give up. And so I do think that it is important that we look to ways that we can not only simplify, but to your point, Ms. Rubin, let's come into today's world. The fact that we're talking about postcards, if I were to ask my son to mail a postcard, I don't know where he'd find a stamp. And the reality that we are doing so much on our smartphones, this ought not be one of those where we say, well, we just can't do it. So I think as we're looking to making it simpler, let's also use the tools that young people are using, which is your device, your phone there. I wanted to ask just a little bit, because there's been good discussion about the verification steps that need to go into place, and I think we can all agree that we need to work to address that more readily. But Dr. McCallum, you had mentioned the efforts that we could make to work with young people earlier on so that they don't get discouraged, even before they get to a more truncated process, which hopefully we're going to put in place. And you mentioned pre-collegiate outreach. When we have talked about healthcare and enrollment in healthcare plans, when the ACA was advanced, there was a role that was designated for navigators. We know that within the healthcare system, you can have a patient a navigator that can help you move through the system. Do we need, I understand that we have counselors in our schools, although in my view, not enough. Do we need navigators, or can we make this simple enough that we don't need to do that? We shouldn't need a navigator.
Senator Murkowski, navigators are a wonderful idea. In fact, the increase in retention rates within college as well as the completion rates came from a navigator program. I hadn't quite thought of doing it in high school, but certainly we know when we have focus groups in high school that is one of their big issues, that they need somebody to help them fill out the form and, if you will, hold their hand and navigate them into college. Another program we have found to be very successful in getting students into college who otherwise wouldn't have done so is concurrent enrollment, so-called dual enrollment, offering college credit-bearing courses to high school students. And we have found an increase in college going rates of 23 percentage points, even after adjusting and assuring that you had the same academic preparation, the same income levels, and the like of those students. We have far higher college going rates of students who've taken a concurrent course versus those who have not. So the combination of navigators, what we call focus centers in the Denver Public Schools, for instance, where you have to go in and use their services to apply for FAFSA, as well as then to apply for other scholarships, and then the concurrent enrollment have all proven to be good success stories.
Let me ask you, Ms. Williams, and I just want to thank you not only for your testimony here today, which I think is very helpful, very instructive, but thank you for your determinedness, your efforts to just stick with a process that was not easy, that probably made it easier for you to quit at every turn, and you did not. You graduated, so congratulations to you. I think you're an extraordinary role model for so many. But would it have been helpful for you prior to even considering college to have something at the high school level that would have allowed you to more readily move towards it? You sound to me to be the type of young woman that is going to get around all the odds, but you also know others that were in a similar situation. How can we make it easier?
Thank you for that question. So for me, it was a little different because I was a part of a TRIO program in high school. So I was a part of the Upward Bound program that really exposed me to higher education, which really gave me that drive to pursue higher education. However, I think the point of contact should be put in place on the college level going into your first year. Because for me, I had the GRASS program, which is a program that works around helping high school students to fill out your FAFSA and get all that documentations done. So I had that in high school, but when it came to college, I didn't have those resources. There wasn't a point of contact person on the college, and coming to VCU as a transfer student, I really didn't know how to navigate that because it was different going from a private school to a public institution. So for me, it would be more of a point of contact on the universities to work with youth experiencing unstable housing and homelessness.
Very good. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.